Hello once again everyone, I'm Caricature and welcome back to my creepy Catwalk commentary, the show where I discuss and break down each and every episode of the Bouet Brothers Dragula Season 5. It may have taken me technically 9 episodes of this review show, but I'm finally wearing a wig. Y'all, it has been a day and a half. I woke up this morning so excited to do drag, so excited to film this review, so excited to stream after I finish filming this review and do some shiny hunting. And as we were getting ready to leave to go run said errands, another errand came up that involved having to drive 30 minutes out of town and back. So it shot my schedule for the day, my plans for the day back so far that I lost all motivation to do much. And then I tried doing something different with this makeup, and I don't like it. Surprise, surprise. But it's documented now for the whole world to see, so I hope someone out there enjoys at least a little bit of this. I think the blush is good. The highlight, this highlight and this cheek, kinda giving a little bit, I'm telling you. It's the highlighter from the Kimchi Chic and Trixie Mattel collab that they launched earlier this year. You can use code Caricature at checkout for 15% off. Here we are, y'all. Episode 8, the final competition episode before the reunion. We start off with this little vignette, this little monster lab scene, talking about the breakdown definition of what a monster is, and the finale. We are in the home stretch, ever so lovingly narrated by Dragula herself. It was cute, it was fine, the scene was cool. I found myself wishing that these vignettes led into each other for like the beginning of the episode, in the same way that they did earlier on, where they were very clear horror movie references. This one towards the end kind of had a little bit of that energy, but I think in general, I wish that they would have kept that going more on the nose throughout the season, because there were a few episodes here and there that broke it out of that. So back in the lab, the monsters remaining all talk about why Cynthia could have a good case for going home. At the same time, Orotic also has a very good case as to why they should be sent home this last episode. There's no real clear, definitive answer. Orotic returns and, surprise, surprise, immediately goes over and starts making out with Neo. The one thing I will say that this romance storyline has over the romance storyline of Titans is that this does not feel forced. This feels very organic. There's a lot of folks out there who really love seeing it because queer love is wonderful to see in television and media like that. Great, I understand that. That's not why I watch Dragula though. I would rather see less of that. More of the monsters being monsters, you know. This opening lab scene, there's quite a bit of tension in the room because it's very clear that everybody is gunning for that finale spot. They're all trying to make top 3. It's getting down to the wire, down to the nitty-gritty, little tiny things are sending people home. We get another little video message from the Boulets to start introducing this week's challenge, and it is swiftly interrupted by Ian as a newscaster. By golly, this man is not a convincing newscaster. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think a lot of it too, because you can see the Boulets do this as well when they're doing these scripts. The Boulets and Ian, their problem, from the angle that they're looking as they're delivering these videos, it's very clear that the prompter is down below them because they're constantly like this, their eyes going this way and back and forth. It doesn't read as a convincing newscaster or as like a direct to camera presentation because their eyes are just doing this the whole time. And with the Boulets, it's like, oh, we'll put the sclera contacts in. You can't see it. It's like, you could still see their little peepers down there. But this week, it is a kaiju challenge. So very interesting concept. The monsters have to create and conceptualize an original drag kaiju character and deliver a performance complete with a miniature city that they will have to demolish and destroy. They are specifically told they do not want humanoid creatures. They want them to transform themselves so far outside of the humanoid silhouette. They want to see 3 fingers on per hand. They want to see claws. They want to see tails, horns, prosthetic pieces. They want to see a complete directional shift from the type of drag that they would normally be doing for this particular challenge. They don't want people. They want monsters. So in addition to this kaiju challenge, to get them in the spirit of demolition, the monsters are sent to a rage room to just vent out their feelings in the competition, get it out of their system, and just smash shit. Of this entire season, this is the one thing that I would have been like gung-ho, over the moon excited about. I've low-key always wanted to do one. I just think the idea sounds very camp and very fun. With these tiny little arms of mine, I don't think I would do much damage, but I would like to give it a good college try. But I think it was nice to see them all kind of have that little fun moment of like just getting to smash stuff. I think we kind of lingered in the scene a little bit too long, but I think it was ultimately good for the cast. So getting into the lab looks this week, we see some behind the scenes looks. We see Neo's silhouette of hers, which I loved. The sketch she had for that looked so gorgeous, so intriguing to me. I was very excited to see what was going to come out of that particular sketch. We don't really see anything from Throb this week, and I'm certainly not complaining about that. We see Blackberry is doing this sort of insectoid moth kaiju creature. It was very much giving me my Meet Our Monsters promo look. It was kind of giving like her cousin, her like cutesy cousin. Orotic is doing a look that is once again very fleshy. I kind of feel conflicted about Orotic's stance on this because I think it is incredibly impressive what Orotic is able to do with such simple everyday objects and with very minimal things. However, at the same time, it's all reading very, very similar in terms of textures, color palettes, treatment of the materials. There's nothing wrong with having like a visual brand. There's nothing wrong with having a consistent through line in your work. Orotic definitely has that. In the same way, I think Neo also has a very consistent through line in her work with all the rhinestones and the immaculate detailing. However, there are times where Orotic's looks do look a little B-movie in a way, which is kind of camp. If you're hearing that it's a lot of the same style of things that you're doing and they want to see diversity, they want to see a well-rounded performer that can do a lot of different things. Like Orotic has proven that they can do their style of drag very, 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 very well. Fantasia's look this week is a sort of centipede as she describes it. I'm nervous. This color palette does not give kaiju, and I don't really think it ultimately read as a centipede. To me, it read more like, I don't know, like a mantis shrimp. It read more, I don't know, crustacean. And then as they're getting ready, Orotic takes Neo aside so they can have a little moment. They give each other little gifts. It's cute, fine, whatever. I will say, this conversation though felt very mature, and I did appreciate the fact that they had this moment of, you know, whatever happens, we've come through this together. Let's just focus on our stuff. Let's focus on our work. Let's focus on why we're here. They ultimately decide to kind of put the romance on hold just a smidge so that way they can focus on doing their best quality work in this competition. Wish you would have done that weeks ago. Every episode, I think it's so hokey that they still do this after season 3. The whole attention competitors, the floor show's about to begin, and they all scream and freak out because they're nowhere near being ready. This time, I feel like they really lean into the camp. Like Blackberry is like up shaking in the camera, Fantasia's rolling around on a table, picking up a stool. They just get silly, which I think is very fun. On to the floor show. Alrighty, first up we have the Boulets. The Boulets looks this week interesting to me. When I saw the photo of it, I was very into it, and my first thought was, I know I said last week was my favorite Boulets look, but this might unseat it. And then I saw them on film. I love the hair. I love a high pony and a fall. I thought it flattered their face shapes both pretty nicely, so like very here for that. But the problem with these outfits was I'm not quite sure what the material was. They kind of gave me raincoat energy, and I don't know with this fabric type if it's even possible to steam them, but like they were very wrinkly. Like you couldn't have just hit that a little bit, pressed it just some. If you're anything like me and you've watched way too many episodes of America's Next Top Model in your time, you know the neck provides elongation and it's more elegant and it makes you look taller. So the last thing you want to do, especially in drag when you have exaggerated proportions, is do stuff that's going to make you look short and truncated. It's going to throw the proportions off in a way that's going to make you look a little uncanny valley because your proportions aren't quite right. So I think that's what happened with Swan. I didn't notice it as much with drag. I didn't really notice it when I saw like the photo here, but when I saw the looks in motion and in film as they're talking, it really is not a flattering shape up here for her. First up this week, we have Nia Hulu. What a cool silhouette. I know that like they raised the concern of her not being able to walk at all in this, and I couldn't really tell which way they were feeling about it because at one turn they would say, it was incredible that she sacrificed her ability to walk for the sake of her art and the sake of her look and her performance. But then at the same time, they also were like, but you can't walk in this. You can't move in this. This is not a practical garment. Like, this is a photo shoot garment. This is a piece that you put on and then you sit and you look stunning, you look creepy, and you're like a display model. The tail, the details in this are incredible. The articulation, so it kind of has that more natural serpentine aperture to it, was really cool. I think my favorite thing though, aside from the detailing all over the headpieces, was the treatment of the inside of the mouth. The fact that it was all like red stone, red glitter, which is very, I think, quintessentially her aesthetic. This is something that I found that I really, really like about Neo, is that she really attacks the challenges head on and brings the horror, brings the filth, the disgust, whatever it may be, to the challenge, but she does it in a way that doesn't stray from her aesthetic or her brand, and every single thing that she has worn this season feels very, very different from the next, but they all feel very much within the same universe. They all make sense as one artist doing everything. I really appreciate her work for that, even though I still don't like her. Up next, we have Blackberry. Is this look costumey as hell? Absolutely. Did I still love it? Absolutely. This was so fun. This was so cutesy. I thought the idea of doing a kaiju that is like dainty and like, oh, I'm just gonna blow the buildings over, I'm not gonna demolish them. I thought it was a really fun spin on the theme. Is it what the Boulets wanted for it? No, but it was different, it stood out, and it's incredibly well made. But I love this color palette, I love this makeup. The stoning around the eyes was really cool. At first impression was kind of giving me Hungry a little bit. We love, we stand, my Stream Queen sibling, and makeup icon legend. It was kind of giving me a little bit of that, and I thought this was such a different look for Blackberry in terms of their makeup. I'm very here for it. I think it looks really cool on her. So I hope to see her do more things that are like this, because this time I saw more of a creature. I will say the look, despite the wings, is still very humanoid. I don't think she transformed herself enough in the performance to really give the creature aspect that they were looking for. Of the humanoid designs this week, this was my favorite, and this felt the most like kaiju adjacent to me personally. Next up we have Throb Zombie. I had no idea what this was supposed to be. Was it supposed to be a bat? Was it supposed to be a demon? Because to me, this reads more as a demon character than a kaiju. I did appreciate the fact that they did this as like a femme presenting character. I think that's an interesting spin, but it still felt very humanoid aside from the tail. I will say though, the tail looked very cool. I did like the tail. Of Throb's looks, this is not one of my favorites this season, and I don't think it was one of the best ones of the night. But it was more monster-y than Blackberry's, so I think realistically, the Boulets would have probably preferred it to Blackberry, but I don't agree. And not just because I don't like Throb either. Okay, next up we have Fantasia. And my first thought, the mask is giving mucha lucha characters, giving luchador realness. It's not giving creature. The arms all connected and moving in sync, very cool. Very good design choice. But when she comes out with her arms like all together and she's just kind of like scuttling about, it gave me Pikmin monsters. You know, like the kind of weird natural horrors. Like this would be like a kaiju to like the Pikmin universe because of the sense of scale. To people, I don't think this reads as a kaiju. It's way too humanoid. It is a person in a bodysuit with little tentacle arms. I love the diva. She is mother, but this was a huge miss for me. I did not think it fit the challenge. She's very great at performing as always. I think she has kind of fallen into an Alyssa Edwards season 5 headspace of, well, I'm a great performer, so my performances will carry me beyond the looks maybe not being up to snuff with the theme. The looks not maybe being what the judges are looking for. And I think she's been able to get away with that most of the season, and I think it's ultimately really starting to catch up with her, because the week where she really, really shined is the week that called for the most like normal look of the season. And finally we have Orotic. Off the bat, this look feels the most creature, and it's all in the performance. Everybody else kind of walked out normally, or maybe kind of like had some more animalistic movements to them, except for Neo. She was just there. With Orotic, the way they had to move, it felt like a monster. It felt like some weird creature from another dimension had slipped into our plane of reality and was just scuttling about. I was very here for it. After being given the critique of doing something differently with the shoes because of not being able to really maneuver and perform that well in the big club kid boots that Orotic usually wears, having the boots be the arms was such a smart choice. It forced Orotic's arms into a very particular position in terms of how to maneuver. I did not understand the face other than the tongue. I will say the center, the body, the head, the body, all of that, it did feel a little hard to read. It did feel a little like hodgepodgey, but it felt like something that I would have seen as like an authentic creature suit in an older movie. And then later on, Throb brings up that point that Orotic does kind of look like an actual kaiju, but from like the 70s films where they were like the bad costumes. Not that Orotic's look is clunky or badly put together. I think Orotic's strength lies in being able to take these really ordinary things and make them into something completely transformative and quite magical. This is something that I would imagine coming out of a kaiju film, but if it had like an Italian horror sci-fi spin on things, not necessarily as much like classic kaiju. And I think at the end of the day, whether we like Orotic or not, their drag is truly a testament to the power of drag, of being able to take very, very little and make the absolute most out of it. And I wish we would have gotten to see more of their processes throughout the competition, because every time we saw them, I was fascinated. The monsters come back for critiques. Blackberry and Fantasia come out on stage very easily. But then they're waiting for Neo, who is crawling her way on the stage because she can't walk in the garment. And Throb is helping her get there. And then Throb is commended on helping Neo. And Throb makes this comment about the whole cast is really supportive of each other. We're always here to help. And we all love each other so much. So much for I'm nobody's ally in this, and I'm not going to help anybody, and I'm not going to support anyone. I'm here for me first and foremost. What happened to that energy from a couple weeks ago, Throb? Something to think about. Blackberry's critiqued on the look being really, really pretty and really well done, but maybe it's too pretty. It's not horror enough, it's not monstery enough, it's not dark and grimy enough for what they wanted for the challenge. And she's incredibly versatile. She's knocking all the assignments out of the park. She's just not delivering enough of the grit that they're wanting out of this. Neo is praised and also somewhat critiqued on not being able to walk, but for the most part praised consistently. She had a great performance, great overall look, great details, and I'm not surprised. I forgot to mention this earlier, but like the bone pieces all throughout is such a good touch. For Fantasia's critique, she's told that she's too cartoony, it's reading more superhero, not enough kaiju. I'm very inclined to agree. It's the exact same thoughts that I had when I first wrote it down before we got to this part in the episode. So I'm a bit worried for her. They're told at the beginning that this challenge is going to be what determines the 3 that go into the finals, meaning 2 of them, based on this challenge, will be out. Orotic wins the challenge. Not at all a surprise to me, very much who I thought would have won the challenge. And we're back to me agreeing with who the Bouets pick as the winner. It is the same aesthetic and same technical skills on display once again, but the performance of this was so drastically different from what Orotic normally delivers. The 4 remaining contestants are told that all 4 of them are put up for extermination. There is no safety. They are the bottom 4. And to fight to the death, monster style, very Godzilla battle. They're going to be standing on platforms and fighting each other with, I think they're called pugil sticks, which would make sense because like pugilists fighting. They're told they're going to stand on these little platforms and they have to knock each other off and then hit them 3 times while they're down. I guess that's the rule. But it didn't look like there was ever a clear winner in these bouts. It just looked like they were fighting. And each person kind of got their moment. Blackberry and Neo go up against each other in their bout. Fantasia and Throb get stuck together because of course they do. Blackberry sees Neo as her biggest competition. If she has the opportunity to take her out of the finale, she's gonna do it. Whereas Fantasia and Throb have been at each other back and forth this entire competition. Mostly Throb coming at Fantasia, primarily unwarranted, in my opinion. But when I heard that this was the extermination, I got immediate flashbacks to TwitchCon 2022. I attended wearing this wig, and I believe the day that I wore this same wig at TwitchCon, there was a streamer who was doing this sort of thing, and it was not structured very safely, and she broke her back. I will put a link to the article about that in the description below. Like, hopefully this is done safer than that was. And then in the cauldron, the romance storyline continues. Fantasia, my queen, my icon, my mother, saying exactly how I feel about all of this. I can't imagine how tiring it would have been to like be in the same room as that over these past few episodes, versus just watching it as a viewer. Because watching it as a viewer is a lot. But seeing it that way, I would be so tired. So done with it. And unfortunately this week, I'm so devastated. But I think it is the correct elimination based on the challenge. Unfortunately, we are saying goodbye for my remaining pick to win, Fantasia Royale Gaga, who wakes up in the lab scene from the beginning of the episode and is told she has 60 seconds to find the key to escape or she's getting gassed. Which I feel like is kind of fitting because she looked a bit like a roach, like a bug. That was her aesthetic. So like exterminating the bug by gassing it out. There's a level of like meta camp to that I enjoy. They pick the deaths in advance. They don't know who's going to die in each way, each episode. So this is another one that like kind of worked out kismet-wise, in the same way that Jarvis's did. This scene felt very Saw to me, especially like having to reach into the thing with all the needles. I don't really understand why that was part of it, and so I guess maybe that's the reference they were trying to go for this particular episode. But that doesn't make sense with a kaiju-themed episode, so I don't know. As sad as I was to watch her get exterminated, she delivered. Like, she performed the hell out of this scene like the rent was due yesterday. She was screaming, she was running, she was hysterical. It was entertaining. And again, if there's one thing that Fantasia is going to always do, it's deliver an incredible performance. And that's exactly what she did here. So I'm very sad we're not going to be seeing her on TV because she's great television. She's perfect for reality TV. We have now lost the two big personalities of the season, and we are left with 4 people who I don't think carry the same weight in that department by any means. So Orotic is the only one confirmed for the finale, according to this episode. The other 2 spots are still up in the air between Throb, Neo, and Blackberry. What I think is going to happen is that they're going to push through Neo and Throb, and Blackberry is gonna get cut because these last few episodes they've been setting up the whole thing of like, but who is Blackberry? Is Blackberry really a monster enough? Like, what's Blackberry doing to take it to the next level into the Dragula world? Besides just wearing like incredibly made costumes with great thought out concepts. So what I think is going to happen is that they're gonna cut Blackberry at the reunion. Now that Fantasia's gone, I think I'm Team Blackberry. I love her versatility. I love her point of view as an artist. There had some few weeks in the middle there that I didn't really enjoy what she was doing. I think she, as the competition has gone on, her looks have gotten better and better and better and better, and her presentation has gotten better as well. So I am very intrigued to see what she would do if given the opportunity to deliver 3 looks for this finale showcase. Desperately want her to be there. I don't think Orotic is going to deliver glamour, and I think the other 2 could do all 3 pretty well, but Orotic's already confirmed. I think it's gonna probably end up coming down to track record because Blackberry was safe more times than everybody else that's left. I will say, if Blackberry is the next one exterminated in episode 9, I legitimately could not give a flying... I lost a nail. I couldn't give a flying fuck who wins of the 3. I'm not particularly excited for Orotic's presentation in the finale because it's been very consistently the same the whole season. Neo, I think, is going to be there because she's had the best track record of the competition, and her looks have been consistently among the best that the show has ever had. I would love for Throb to get so close and then get cut right at the end. But I think they'll put Throb through anyways because Throb has been consistently a top placing performer. But of the three, I don't particularly like any of them. I think personally of those three, I would love to see Orotic win because I think Orotic could benefit the most from winning. But I think objectively, the winner should be Neo. And as much as I've been very vocal about not liking her, like, I would be a fool to sit here and act like the caliber of her work is not worthy of winning. Outside of the band performance challenge, she's delivered incredible work every single week. Do I think there were times she was favored? Yes. Do I think there were times she was put in the top where she shouldn't have been? Yes. But when it comes down to the technical abilities that this woman has in terms of bringing her looks to life, she says in this episode that Blackberry is very much the present of monster drag, but Neo is the future of it. I do not disagree with her. And we then get the wonderful hiatus announcement that I talked about last week. We're getting a 2-week break from Dragula, so you will see me in a few weeks with that. Again, the thing I'm the most excited for with this 2-week break is that I can finally get caught up on these play-along looks because I haven't had the time. By the time this review comes out, my Christmas show locally will have already happened, so I will be working on prepping for that and getting everything together and organized, making mixes and stuff for that show most of this week. So I'm not able to do more than one look. But in the meantime, enjoy my Pleasure Planet X look. I'm very happy with it. And just like every other week, you can slide over to my TikTok to get the behind the scenes look where you get a cute little speed paint and a little explanation of my concept and see some sketches of my process while I design this look. But again, as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of the things. Stay tuned for everything. I did make a community post explaining some really fun things I'm very excited about that'll be coming next year. We're going to be doing some makeup tutorial style content. We're going to be following some makeup tutorials and recording that process. The grand return of my draws plays is happening next year, and there will also be new gaming content coming each and every week. Hitch your little wagon up to the caravan and come along for the ride. I will be covering Drag Race Season 16, however, it will not be full episode summaries like this. It's strictly going to just be the looks. But if you've got opinions on the type of content you would like to see me do going into the new year with Drag Race, Dragula, etc., I'd love to hear it, so feel free to drop that in the comments below too. I believe that is everything, so I will see you back here in 2 weeks. Stay kind, stay queer, and until next time, toodle boo!